You know that moment when everyone starts complaining about the cold and you're quietly thriving? While your friends are booking flights to tropical islands, counting down the days until summer, you're genuinely excited about staying home, lights low, pajamas on, for the third day in a row. If that sounds like you, congratulations. You're not broken, you're not weird, and you're definitely not just tolerating winter. You might actually be psychologically wired to love it. Here's the part nobody tells you. People who prefer winter over summer aren't simply enduring the cold. Their brains are having a completely different experience. And science actually backs this up. Let's start with something simple but powerful. Why does staying home feel so much better in winter than it ever does in summer? Not just acceptable. Not just, I guess this is fine, but genuinely deeply soul-level satisfying. Here's what's happening in your nervous system. When it's cold and dark outside and warm and safe inside, your brain experiences what psychologists call contrast-based comfort. Your nervous system is constantly comparing environments, harsh versus safe, unpredictable versus controlled. Every time you glance out the window and see the cold, your brain quietly rewards you for being sheltered. You're warm. You're protected. You made the right choice. Summer doesn't give you this. In summer, staying inside feels like loss. The weather is nice. People are out. There's an unspoken pressure floating in through the windows, like the sun itself is judging you. Your brain registers staying home as avoidance. In winter, it registers it as wisdom. The math is completely different. Environmental psychologists also talk about something called refuge appeal. Humans are hardwired to feel calmer and more satisfied in enclosed, protected spaces when there's a perceived threat outside. And evolutionarily speaking, winter was a threat. So when you're wrapped in blankets while it's freezing outside, your brain isn't being lazy. It's activating an ancient survival reward system. Your caveman brain is basically throwing you a small dopamine celebration because you found shelter. And let's be honest, the activities finally match the energy. Winter activities are low stimulation, high comfort, reading, watching movies, cooking warm food, existing under blankets without needing to perform. You don't have to be on. For introverts especially, this is where things click. You're not fighting the season. You're aligned with it. Now here's a question that usually hits people unexpectedly. Do you feel more focused in winter? More creative? Like your brain actually works better? There's a reason for that. Winter naturally reduces external stimulation. Shorter days mean softer light. Cold weather means fewer crowds. Fewer spontaneous social demands. The world gets quieter. And for people with nervous systems that already process a lot, that reduction feels like relief. Research shows that introverts tend to be more sensitive to stimulation overall. Bright sunlight, heat, noise, constant activity, all of it drains energy faster. Winter turns the volume down. It's not depressing for you. It's regulating. There's also a cognitive side to this. Studies consistently show that people focus better in cooler environments. There's an optimal temperature range for mental performance, and it's cooler than most people realize. In winter, your brain isn't wasting energy trying to cool your body down. That energy gets redirected toward thinking, problem-solving, and creativity. That's why you might finally finish projects in winter. Why you read more. Why your thoughts feel clearer. You're not suddenly becoming a different person. You're finally in conditions that suit how your brain actually works. And we haven't even talked about the darkness yet, which might be the most misunderstood part of all. But that's where things get really interesting. Let's talk about the part everyone warns you about. The darkness. We're constantly told that winter darkness is bad, that it's depressing, that it drains energy and motivation. And yes, for some people, seasonal affective disorder is very real and very serious. But for winter people, something entirely different is happening. Darkness creates boundaries. When the sun sets at 4:30 p.m., your day has a clear ending. There's no guilt about slowing down. No pressure to squeeze productivity out of every remaining hour. Your circadian rhythm is finally allowed to lead instead of being overridden by artificial expectations. Compare that to summer. It's still light at 9 p.m. and somehow you feel like you should be doing something, maximizing the day. Being productive, being social. Summer quietly pressures you to stay on longer than your biology wants. Winter doesn't. Winter gives you permission to stop. Psychologists call this temporal compression. When days are shorter, time feels more contained, less sprawling, less overwhelming. Your mind experiences life in smaller, more manageable units. and that containment feels safe. There's also something aesthetically powerful about winter darkness that people rarely admit out loud. It's atmospheric, moody, introspective. Early stars, streetlights glowing against snow. Warm windows surrounded by cold streets. It's not emptiness. It's presence. For people who love winter, darkness isn't the absence of light. It's a different kind of light altogether. Quieter, softer, less demanding. And here's maybe the deepest reason winter people feel at home during this season. Winter legitimizes rest. Modern culture has completely rejected seasonality. We're expected to maintain the same energy, output, and social availability year-round, but that's not how humans evolved. For most of human history, winter was a time of conservation. You stayed close to home. You slowed down, you reflected, you rested. And no one felt guilty about it because everyone was doing the same thing. Winter people are still listening to that rhythm. When you love winter, you're not avoiding life. You're engaging with it differently. You're recognizing that productivity isn't the only measure of a meaningful existence. Sometimes the most important things happen when nothing appears to be happening at all. Thinking, processing, letting thoughts settle, letting emotions catch up. For introverts especially, winter removes the guilt around needing solitude to recharge. You're not antisocial. You're not boring. You're responding appropriately to the season. You're being human, so what does loving winter actually say about you? It says you value depth over stimulation. It says you understand that comfort is a legitimate form of happiness. It says you're comfortable with quiet, with stillness, with introspection. It says you don't need constant external validation to enjoy your own company. And in a world that's always demanding more, brighter, faster, louder, that's not weakness. That's strength. Winter people aren't waiting for life to begin again in spring. They're already living it. They just understand that meaning doesn't only exist in motion. Sometimes it exists in rest, in warmth, in darkness that feels safe instead of threatening. So the next time someone asks why you love winter, you can tell them it's not despite the cold and dark. It's because of it. And if this perspective resonated with you, the next video goes even deeper into why certain minds crave quiet, slower rhythms and environments that others find uncomfortable. It connects the dots between personality, nervous system sensitivity, and the spaces where you feel most alive. I'll see you there.